Hey guys, David here, and today a very quick set of initial thoughts and reaction to the new details on the Microsoft Surface Duo. Ready? Then let's go. So the Surface Duo, it is a phone, but also seems to want to be a tablet. It's a foldable device from Microsoft with two dual screens and a combined 8.1 inch size when it's fully open. And I find it quite weird. It's not clear to me who this is for or what the overall purpose of the product is. Let me explain why. So if we think about it as a phone, the first thing is the price tag. $1,400 or $1,500 depending on the storage configuration that you go for. That makes it at the very top of phone pricing. Top end Samsung, top end iPhone. And Microsoft doesn't have that level of brand recognition or that level of track record in the smartphone market for that price to seem like a good deal to most consumers, I think. If we ignore the kind of brand issue and look more at specs, it's not a much better picture. The Surface Duo is going to be rocking a Snapdragon 855 processor, so less capable than the top-end highest-priced Samsungs and significantly less capable than the top-end iPhone A series processors. So compared to the other phones in that price bracket, the processor isn't great. Then we can think about RAM. It's going to have 6 gigabytes of RAM compared to other Android platforms, because the Surface Duo is going to be running Android. It is around half or even less than the 12 to 16 gigabytes you see in some of the top-end Samsungs and some of the other top-end Android phones. And compared to the iPhone world, they always tend to have less RAM, but because Apple control the hardware and the software, the phones are super optimized so that you still get really slick performance. The reason that top Android phones tend to have more RAM is because the hardware and software comes from different manufacturers, different sources, and therefore isn't as optimized. So 6 gig might be great in an iPhone, but 6 gig on an Android smartphone at the very top end price bracket makes me concerned about how good and smooth that performance is going to be. Another thing to note is the Surface Duo only has one camera. So while it can flip 360 degrees with its hinge, you still need to always make sure the camera is pointing at what you want to photograph. You won't be able to do what you do on an iPhone or a Samsung, press a button to go between front and rear facing cameras, and you won't be able to switch between different camera lenses and enjoy all of that functionality either. Two other concerns about this device, thinking about it as a smartphone. The first maybe is more personal preference, but the device looks really huge in the hand. In one of the marketing videos, we see a lady towards the end taking a call on the Surface Duo, and in terms of the width, it just looks absolutely huge and uncomfortable in her hand. For me, I don't like to go much bigger than my current phone, which is the iPhone XR, same dimensions, same size as the current 11, because it's large, the screen is nice, but I can still fit it in my hand, and I've got fairly large hands, and in my pocket easily. Beyond that, for me personally, it becomes impractical, and I think a lot of people feel the same. The Surface Duo looks really quite large by comparison. And it also seems that the Surface Duo won't have any NFC capabilities. Basically, this is the technology that allows you to do things like contactless payments. Now, for some people this might not be an issue, but I think number one, this is a $1,400 or $1,500 device, and that's a technology that people pretty much expect in their smartphones now. And number two, one big takeaway I had from the pandemic is that being able to pay for things in a contactless way is really convenient and really helpful, and maybe a bit more hygienic too. So it's unfortunate that that capability isn't going to be there on the Surface Duo. So what's the other angle? What if we think about this as a tablet device? How does it compare to the competition then? So I think it's fair to say that Apple is the market leader in tablets. Samsung have done some increasingly impressive S tablets recently, but the iPad is still the thing that the vast majority of people know, and I suspect the vast majority of people who use tablets to get real work done are using. So let's use the iPad as a comparison. At a screen size of 8.1 inches when the Surface Duo is open, you're looking at something similar to the iPad Air at 10.2 inches or the smaller iPad Pro at 11 inches. If we start off by thinking about processor and performance, the Snapdragon 855 posts a Geekbench processor result in the region of 24 to 2700. If we compare that to the $500 iPad Air with the A12 Bionic chip, that has scores in the 28 to 2900 region. If we then look at the iPad Pro with the A12X or A12Z chip, those scores are around 4600. So substantially higher processor performance from the iPads. When we think about the Surface Duo as a tablet, the same issues we talked about with RAM and optimization come up. So the iPad Pros now both have 6 GB of RAM, and they are optimized to work incredibly smoothly with iOS. 6 GB of RAM and a less strong processor running on Android, which by its nature can't be optimized because it starts off as being compatible with so many different devices, makes me think that the performance of the Surface Duo is likely to lag behind the iPad Air and far, far behind the iPad Pro. The other marketing for the tablet mode of the Surface Duo talks about how having 2 screens allows you to have 2 different apps side by side. The iPad already has this functionality, which Apple calls split view, where you can have one app side by side and in some cases a third app hovering in smaller form factor over the top. The only thing I would say about that is it's not compatible with every single app. The vast majority of things that you would expect side by side do work, but you can't, for example, have Affinity Photo on one side of the screen and a note-taking app on the other, whereas the Surface Duo seems to allow any app on the device to run in one of the 2 screens. So that's nice, but it certainly doesn't feel groundbreaking enough to justify the price difference. The other thing to bear in mind, if you want to use the Surface Duo as a tablet for consuming content or as a drawing or note-taking pad, because it does have compatibility with a stylus, it has a smaller screen than the iPad Air at 10.2 inches or the iPad Pro, the smaller model, at 11 inches. So not only is there a smaller screen, but with the iPad you have the option with most apps of having split view, one thing on either side. With the Surface Duo, you will always have a join in the middle of the screen. So if you want to display something continuously, you can't get away from the fact the device itself has a hinge in the middle. The last thing here is just about value. Now, it may be that you think this device looks great, or it may be that once people get their hands on it, this unique, weird tablet, notebook folding, phone hybrid is incredibly good to use, and I just aren't getting it now. But I think the price is the killer thing here for me. I also did a little thinking on what else you could get for your $1,400. And if we break that down and say, well, we need a phone and we need a tablet to have the same capabilities as the Surface Duo, well, an iPhone 11 for $700 with a better processor, faster performance and optimization. An iPad Air for $500, so $1,200 cumulatively, which will also have better processor, performance, optimization. Both of those devices have got more camera capabilities, more contactless capabilities. And then because we've got $200 left, why not throw in an Apple Watch Series 3? Again, you've got something which can allow for contactless payment, you've got fitness tracking, you've got all the other benefits of wearable technology. So if the pitch is that it is expensive, but it can do the job of 2 devices, then to me, it feels like the example I just used shows that you could actually get 3 devices which will perform as good or most likely better and have more features and more capabilities. So it really feels like at this price with these features, the device doesn't have a natural home. I don't have anything against Microsoft, and I think they do a lot of cool things in hardware and software, but this one just doesn't make sense to me. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm missing something, maybe you agree, maybe you've got a totally different view. I would love to know. Anyway, a massive thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel get started and to grow. And until next time, take it easy.